souls outside by sycamore tree, single a green willow, her hand on her bosom, her head on her knee, sing willow, willow, willow. The fresh streams run by her and murmur a moan, sing willow, willow, willow. The salt tears fell from her and softened the stone, sing willow, willow, willow. Prithee, hie thee, he'll come anon, sing all the green willow must be my darling, let nobody blame in this scorn I approve.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Wheel of Shakespeare Challenge for the second Saturday of October. We were talking about before we went live about Halloween's coming up, so I look forward to our annual Halloween special where we'll choose exclusively from Shakespeare's ghost and witch characters and stuff like that. That's Halloween appropriate, so that's only a couple weeks away. We're coming up on that big special, but for today we stick with the other material. You know, we don't have to stick to that. There's so much great material from Shakespeare that myself, Brannon, Maggie, and Ted have to perform for you today, chosen at random by the wheel, and based on the randomly chosen order that I spun for just before we got started. I will go first. I go first. Brannon is on deck. She will perform after me. And so to get started, without further ado, I'm spinning for myself, and I will perform Hotspur. My liege, I did deny no prisoners. That's Henry IV, Part 1, Act 1, Scene 3. My liege, I did deny no prisoners, but I remember when the fight was done, when I was dry with rage and extreme toil, breathless and faint, leaning upon my sword, came there a lord, neat and trimly dressed, fresh as a bridegroom, and his chin new reaped, showed like a stubble land at harvest home. He was perfumed like a milliner, and twixt his finger and his thumb he held a pouncet box, which ever and anon he gave his nose and took away again. Who therewith angry, when it came next there, took it in a snuff, and still he smiled and talked. And as the soldiers bore dead bodies by, he called them untaught knaves, unmannerly, to bring a slovenly, unhandsome course betwixt the wind and his nobility. Sorry, I lost my place. With many holiday and lady terms he questioned me, amongst the rest demanded my prisoners in your majesty's behalf. I then, all smarting with my wounds being cold, to be so pestered by the popinjay, out of my grief and my impatience, answered neglectingly, I know not that. He should or he should not. For he made me mad to see him shine so brisk and smell so sweet, and talk so like a waiting gentlewoman of guns and drums and wounds, God save the mark, and telling me the sovereignest thing on earth was Parmacetti for the inward bruise, and that it was a great pity, so it was. This villainous saltpetre should be digged out of the bowels of the harmless earth, which many a good tall fellow had destroyed so cowardly. And but for these vile guns, he would himself have been a soldier. This bald, unjointed chat of his, my lord, I answered indirectly, as I said, and I beseech you, let not his report come current for an accusation betwixt my love and your high majesty. Okay. Thank you. Brannon, you're up next, and you will be doing. Philip the Bastard, Mad World, Mad Kings.
King John 2.
Yeah, I think it's the very end of the long scene.
Okay.
And Ted, you're on deck. You'll go after Brandon this one.
Okay. 2.
Nice. And by the way, I see Henry just joined us. We're glad to have him with us.
Okay.
So it'll be after Brandon, it'll be Ted, then Maggie, then Henry.
Okay, I'm scrolling down. Okay, at the very end. Okay. By heaven. Okay. By heaven, these Sroliles of Angiers flout you kings and stand securely on their battlements, as if in a theater, whence they game and point at your industrious scenes and acts of death. Your royal presences be ruled by me. Do like the mutins of Jerusalem, be friends a while, and both conjointly bend your sharpest deeds of malice on this town. By east and west, let France and England mount their battering cannon charged to the mouth, till their soul-fearing clamors have broiled down the flinty ribs of this contemptuous city. Idle play insistently upon these jades, even till unfenced desolation, leave them as naked as the vulgar air, that done to serve your united strengths, and part your mingled colors once again. Turn face to face and bloody, point to point, then in a moment fortune shall cut forth out of one side her happy minion, to whom in favor she shall give the day, and kiss him with a glorious victory. How like you with this wild counsel, mighty states? Smacks it not something of the policy? Scene.
Okay, very nice. So Ted, you're up now, and Maggie's on deck. But first, you are going to do. This is a new one I just started. Malvolio's letter discovery. So this is, when you find the forged letter and pick it up and start reading. Some are born great, etc. And I think there'll be some bits where the pranksters are watching and they comment. Go ahead and skip that. You can make it a continuous monologue and skip the comments that the nitwits who've left the letter for you are saying to comment on what an ass you're making of yourself, or and a bigger ass you're going to make of yourself in the next scene.
Okay, hold on, let me find it.
Act 2, Scene 5.
Yeah. Toward the end, reading the letter. Okay.
Okay, so whenever you're ready, go.
M-O-A-I. This simulation is not as the former, and yet to crush this a little, it would bow to me, for every one of these letters are in my name. Soft. Here follows prose. If this fall into thy hand, revolve. In my stars I am above thee, but be not afraid of greatness. Some are born great, some achieve greatness, and some have greatness thrust upon them. Thy fates open their hands. Let thy blood and spirit embrace them, and, to inure thyself to what thou art like to be, cast thy humble slough and appear fresh. Be opposite with a kinsman, surly with servants. Let thy tongue tang arguments of state. Put thyself into the trick of singularity. She thus advises thee, that sighs for thee. Remember who commended thy yellow stockings, and wish to see thee ever cross-gartered. Well, I say remember. Go to, thou art made. If thou desirest to be so, if not, let me see thee a steward still, the fellow of servants, and not worthy to touch fortune's fingers. Farewell. She that would alter services with thee. The fortunate unhappy. Daylight and champagne discovers not more. This is open. I will be proud. I will read politic authors. I will baffle Sir Toby. I will wash off gross acquaintance. I will be point devise the very man. I do not now fool myself to let imagination jade me. For every reason excites to this, that my lady loves me. She did commend my yellow stockings of late. She did praise my leg being cross-gartered. And in this she manifests herself to my love, and with a kind of injunction drives me to these habits of her liking. I thank my stars, I am happy. I will be strange, stout, in yellow stockings and cross-gartered, even with the swiftness of putting on. Jove and my stars be praised. Here is yet a postscript. Thou canst not choose but know who I am. If thou entertainest my love, let it appear in thy smiling. Thy smiles become thee well. Therefore in my presence still smile, my dear, my sweet, I prithee. Jove, I thank thee. I will smile. I will do everything that thou wilt have me. Scene.
Okay, great. Maggie, you're up, and Henry, and then we'll spin for some scenes. Maggie is going to do... Clarence is Green and Richard III. Act 1, Scene 4, I believe that's the top of it, or maybe not the way he describes it to the jailer.
Okay, I'll try. I'll look. Richard 314. Oops, sorry. I thought I had MIT open. Here we go. History. Richard 314. Correct?
Yes.
Right.
Got it?
I think so. Is it me thoughts I had broken from the tower?
Yes, yeah.
Wait, no. Oh no, my dream was lengthened after life. I don't know which one. I'll just do. Yeah, I'll do the first one.
And if there's a short interruption, if you want to make it continuous and cut out a few comments that other characters.
Okay. Alrighty.
Okay, so whenever you're ready.
Methoughts that I had broken from the tower and was embarked to cross to Burgundy, and in my company my brother Gloucester, who from my cabin tempted me to walk upon the hatches. Thence we looked toward England and sighted up 1,000 fearful times during the wars of York and Lancaster that had befallen us. As we paced along upon the giddy footing of the hatches, methought that Gloucester stumbled, and in falling struck me, that thought to stay him overboard into the tumbling billows of the main. Lord, Lord, methought what pain it was to drown, what dreadful noise of waters in my ears, what ugly sights of death within mine eyes. Methought I saw 1,000 fearful wrecks, 10,000 men that fishes gnawed upon, wedges of gold, great anchors heaped of pearls, inestimable stones, unvalued jewels, all scattered in the bottom of the sea. Some lay in dead men's skulls, and in those holes where eyes did once inhabit, there were crept, as 'twere in scorn of eyes, reflecting gems, which wooed the slimy bottom of the deep and mocked the dead bones that lay scattered by. Oh no, my dream was lengthened after life. Oh, then began the tempest to my soul, who passed, methought, the melancholy flood with what grim ferryman which poets write of unto the kingdom of perpetual night. The first that there did greet my stranger soul was my great-grandfather, my father-in-law, renowned Warwick, who cried aloud, "What scourge for perjury can this dark monarchy afford false Clarence?" And so he vanished. Then came wandering by a shadow like an angel, with bright hair dabbled in blood, and he squeaked out loud, "Clarence is come, false, fleeting, perjured Clarence, that stabbed me in the field by Tewkesbury. Seize on him, Furies, take him onto your torments." With that, methoughts, a legion of foul fiends environed me about and howled in mine ears such hideous cries that with very noise I trembled, waked, and for a season after could not believe but that I was in hell. Such terrible impression made the dream.
Okay, great.
That might be good for Halloween too.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So our last monologue before we go on to scenes will be done by Henry, and he is going to do the Romeo and Juliet prologue. Two houses.
There we go. That was easy to find.
Yeah. Hold on, give me a second. Okay, whenever you're ready.
Yeah. Hold on. Two households, both. Two households, both alike in dignity, in fair Verona, where we lay our scene. From ancient grudge break to new mutiny, where civil blood makes civil hands unclean. From forth the fatal loins of these two foes, a pair of star-crossed lovers take their life, whose misadventured piteous overthrows do with their death bury their parents' strife. The fearful passage of their death-marked love, and the continuance of their parents' rage, which but their children's end naught could remove, is now the 2 hours' traffic of our stage, the which if you with patient ears attend, what here shall miss, our toil shall strive to mend.
Okay, awesome. So let's bring up the wheel of short scenes to see what the five of us can do now. And Henry went last, so he will get the first choice of roles amongst these scenes. Hamlet 2.1, because there's three people, the whole scene. So it starts with Polonius is talking to Rinaldo, giving him instructions, and then Ophelia comes in. So Polonius, Rinaldo, and Ophelia are the first three roles. And then As You Like It, 3.2, Celia and Rosalind. Okay, so it's good that one of the scenes was with three people, so that gives exactly 5 roles for the 5 of us. So the 5 roles again are Polonius, Rinaldo, and Ophelia in Act 2, Scene 1 of Hamlet, and then Celia and Rosalind in Act 3, Scene 2 of As You Like It. Henry, what would you like?
I'll do Polonius, please.
Okay, Henry will be Polonius. Maggie, what would you like?
I'd like Rosalind.
Rosalind. Maggie will be Rosalind. Ted, what would you like?
Rinaldo.
Ted will be Rinaldo. Brannon, what would you like? Ophelia or Celia?
Ophelia.
Okay. And that leaves me to be Celia.
I knew it to be Ophelia.
Okay. So let me Ophelia. So we'd start with Ophelia isn't in the scene yet. She'll come later. Let me create the banner. Are the two of you ready to start?
No, hold on. No, not yet. Oh, it's the top of the scene. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so whenever you're ready, go ahead.
Hold on. Give him this money and these notes, Rinaldo.
I will, my lord.
You shall do marvellous wisely, good Rinaldo, before you visit him, to make inquire of his behaviour.
My lord, I did intend it.
Very well said. Very well said. Look you, sir, inquire me first what danskers are in Paris, and how and who, what means, and where they keep what company at what expense, and finding by this encompassment a draft of question that they do know my son, come you more nearer than your particular demands will touch it. Take you as 'twere some distant knowledge of him, and thus I know his father and his friends, and in part, do you mark this, Rinaldo?
Aye, very well, my lord.
And in part him, but you may say not well. But if it be he, I mean, he's very wild, addicted, so and there put on him what forgeries you do please. Marry none so rank as may dishonour him. Take heed of that. But, sir, such wanton, wild, and usual slips that our companions noted, and most known to youth and liberty.
As gaming, my lord.
Aye, or drinking, fencing, swearing, quarrelling, drabbling, you may go so far.
My lord, that would dishonour him.
Oh, faith, no, as you may season it in the charge, you must not put another scandal on him, that he is open to incontinency. That's not my meaning. But breathe his faults so quaintly that they may seem the taints of liberty, the flash and outbreak of a fiery mind, the savageness in unreclaimed blood of general assault.
But, my good lord,
Wherefore should you do this?
my lord, I would know that.
Marry, sir, here's my drift. And I believe it is the fetch of wit. You laying these slight sullies on my son as 'twere a little a thing a little soiled in the working, mark you. Your party in converse, him you would sound, having ever seen in the predominant crimes the youth you breathe of guilty, be assured he closes with you in this consequence, good sir, or so, or friend, or gentleman, according to the phrase or the addition of man and country.
Very good, my lord.
And then, sir, does he this? He does. What was I about to say? By the mass, I was about to say something. Where did I leave?
At closes in the consequence, at friend or so, and gentleman.
Oh, closes in the consequence. Aye, marry, he closes thus. I know the gentleman. I saw him yesterday, or t'other day, or then, with such or such, and as you say, there was a gaming there, or took in's rouse, or there falling out at tennis, or perchance I saw him enter such a house of sale, videlicet, a brothel, or so forth. See you now, your bait of falsehood takes this carp of truth, and thus do we of wisdom and of reach, with windlasses and with assays of bias, by indirections find directions out. So by my former lecture and advice shall you, my son. You have me, have you not?
My lord, I have.
God be you. Fare you well.
Good, my lord.
Observe this inclination in yourself.
I shall, my lord.
And let him ply his music.
Well, my lord.
Farewell. How now, Ophelia, what's the matter?
Oh, my lord, I have been so affrighted.
With what, in the name of God?
My lord, as I was sewing in my closet, Lord Hamlet, with his doublet all unbraced, no hat upon his head, his stockings fouled and gartered, and down-guyed to his ankle, pale as his shirt, his knees knocking each other, and with a look so piteous in purport, as if he had been loosed out of hell to speak of horrors, he comes before me.
Mad for thy love?
My lord, I do not know, but truly I do fear.
What said he?
He took me by the wrist and held me hard. Then goes he to the length of all his arm, and with his other hand, thus o'er his brow, he falls to such perusal of my face as he would draw it. Long stayed he so, and at last, a little shaking of my arm, and thrice his head thus waving up and down, he raised a sigh so piteous and profound, as it did seem to shatter all his bulk and end his being. That done, he let me go, and with his head over his shoulder turned, he seemed to find his way without his eyes, for out of doors he went without their helps, and to the last bended their light on me.
Come, go with me. I will go seek the king. This is the very ecstasy of love, whose violent property foredoes itself, and leads the will to desperate undertakings, as oft as any passion under heaven that does afflict our nations. I am sorry. What, have you given him any hard words of late?
No, my good lord, but as you did command, I did repel his fetters and denied his access to me.
That hath made him mad. I am sorry that with better heed and judgment I had not quoted him. I feared he did but trifle, and meant to wreck thee. But beshrew my jealousy. By heaven, it is as proper to our age, to cast beyond ourselves in our opinions, as it is common for the younger sort to lack discretion. Come, go we to the king. This must be known, which, being kept close, might move more grief to hide than hate to utter love.
Okay, great. So,
Thank you,
lastly, we have myself and Maggie to do the As You Like It scene, Celia and Rosalind. And yeah, you're at the point where it's the two of us and then Corin and Touchstone, and then Corin and Touchstone exit, and now we're looking at the letters.
Okay.
And so it starts with, Didst thou hear
Got it.
these? You got it?
Yeah,
You're ready?
I have it.
Okay. Didst thou hear these verses?
Oh, yes. I heard them all and more too, for some of them had in them more feet than the verses would bear.
That's no matter. The feet might bear the verses.
Aye, but the feet were lame and could not bear themselves without the verse, and therefore stood lamely in the verse.
But didst thou hear without wondering how thy name should be hanged and carved upon these trees?
I was 7 of the 9 days out of the wonder before you came. For look here what I found on a palm tree. I was never so berhymed since Pythagoras' time that I was an Irish rat, which I can hardly remember.
Trow you who hath done this?
Is it a man?
And a chain that you once wore about his neck. Change you color?
I prithee who?
Oh, Lord, it is a hard matter for friends to meet, but mountains may be removed with earthquakes and so encounter.
Nay, but who is it?
Is it possible?
Nay, I pray thee now with most petitionary vehemence, tell me who it is.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful, and most wonderful, wonderful, and yet again wonderful, and after that, out of all whooping.
Oh, good my complexion. Dost thou think, though I am caparisoned like a man, I have a doublet and hose in my disposition? 1 inch of delay more is the South Sea of discovery. I pray thee, tell me who it is quickly, and speak apace. I would thou couldst stammer, though thou mightst pour this concealed man out of thy mouth, as wine comes out of a narrow-mouthed bottle, either too much at once or none at all. I pray thee, take the cork out of thy mouth that may drink thy tidings.
So you may put a man in your belly.
Is he of God's making? What manner of man? Is his head worth a hat, or his chin worth a beard?
Nay, he hath but a little beard.
Why, God will send more, if the man will be thankful. Let me stay the growth of this beard, if thou delay me not the knowledge of his chin.
It is young Orlando that tripped up the wrestler's heels and your heart, both in an instant.
Nay, but the devil take mocking. Speak, sad brow and true maid.
Faith, cuz 'tis he.
Orlando?
Orlando.
Oh, alas the day! What shall I do with my doublet and hose? What did he when thou sawest him? What said he? How looked he? Wherein went he? What makes him here? Did he ask for me? Where remains he? How parted he with thee? And when shalt thou see him again? Answer me in one word.
You must borrow me Gargantuan's mouth first. 'Tis a word too great for any mouth of this age's size. To say aye and no to these particulars is more than to answer in a catechism.
But doth he know that I am in this forest and in man's apparel? Oh, looks he as freshly as he did the day he wrestled?
It is as easy to count atomies as to resolve the propositions of a lover. But take a taste of my finding him, and relish it with good observance. I found him under a tree like a dropped acorn.
Oh, it may well be called love's tree when it drops forth such fruit.
Give me audience, good madam.
Proceed.
There lay he, stretched along like a wounded knight.
Though it be pity to see such a sight, it well becomes the ground.
Cry hola to thy tongue, I prithee. It curvets unreasonably. He was furnished like a hunter.
Oh, ominous. He comes to kill my heart.
I would sing my song without a burden. Thou bringest me out of tune.
Do you not know I am a woman? When I think I must speak. Sweet, say on.
You bring me out. Soft, comes he not here?
'Tis he. Slink by and note him.
Okay, great. So great performances today, everybody. Thank you all for participating. Thank you to those who watched, and we'll see you again next week. Same Bard time, same Bard channel. Bye now.